Hello, welcome to Medicine for the Soul Yoga. My name is Kat and this is part 26 of our Journey to Crow series. So today we're going to be building on what we practiced last class, so do make sure you practice that before this one. We're going to be exploring tripod headstand again, which is using the same chaturanga arm, so really good for getting to grips with that, which will help with crow pose, but also we're going to start to play around with bringing our head down and coming into tripod headstand from crow pose. So quite a challenging class. Please take it easy. Please don't take risks. Have someone to support you if you can, if it's your first time practicing it, or at least using the wall just to stay safe. And let's get going. So we're going to start with our legs in butterfly today. We're going to really open out the inside of the hips to help prepare us for the strength that we'll need to be using from them for this transition. So we want to make them nice and warmed up to begin with. So we'll bring the soles of the feet together and hold on to the ankles. And as we gently lean forward, we hinge from the hips and we can maybe push the knees apart with the elbows. We can gently rock side to side, breathing deeply through the nose, finding a bit of space and just being kind to your body. If it's first thing in the morning, just take it really slowly and just feel into how you're feeling today. And we'll pause in the center and we'll really draw the knees down with the elbows. Breathing deeply through the nose and relax the shoulders away from the ears. Good. One more big inhale here. And big exhale. Good. Gently drawing ourselves up. And we're going to bring the feet really close to the body now. So as close as we can, whilst we still can keep the spine straight. Hold onto the ankles and we can gently flutter the knees up and down and really draw the arms back. We want to hug the elbows in. Big deep breath through the nose. And then finding stillness again, we're going to fold forward. But this time we can round the back and release the head and the neck. And maybe let the head roll side to side. And then we'll gently come up. Good, and then we'll rest the hands behind us, roll the shoulders, and we'll bring the right knee all the way over, and then the left knee all the way over. So gently moving side to side with the knees, focusing on the breath, really opening the knees apart in the center so you feel that stretch in the inside of the thighs. Good. And then pausing in the center. Really good. So we're going to come into that little balance that we have practiced more towards the start of the course, where we're going to bring our feet up, keep them glued together, and then bring the arms underneath the legs. And we're going to rest the inside of the crease of the knees with the inside crease of the elbows. We're going to breathe here and begin to really center ourselves, really ground ourselves in this practice. Take a few deep breaths, maybe close the eyes if you want to test your balance. Good, and then gently opening the eyes. We're going to keep the feet off the mat, so don't let the feet touch the ground. Releasing the hands, we're going to straighten the legs and place the hands behind us and lean back. And as we exhale, we're going to draw the knees in and lift the chest. So gently inhale, hold, and exhale, bring up. Good. So really good for the core and for the hip flexors. We're going to use both today. Pointing the toes. If you want an extra challenge, don't use the hands to help you. The hands can just be out to the side. So we're basically coming into low boat and then normal boat pose. Good. We're going to do one more after this. And then holding here, bring the feet in, wrap the arms around the legs. Draw the chin down to the chest. Gently roll the neck, so want the neck to be nice and loose and warmed up. If you have any neck issues or a painful neck today, please miss out the tripod aspect of this class, the headstand aspect. And just focus on your crow pose. We've covered a lot, so there's lots to practice, and you can just have a little free flow moment. Good. Maybe rolling all the way around with the head, making a big circle, relaxing and releasing the jaw. And then we can gently go the other way around. Perfect. We'll bring ourselves to sitting upright. Big inhale with the arms, and exhale, draw the palms down to the chest. As we inhale, we'll open the arms into cactus, open the shoulders, lift the chin. As we exhale, we'll draw the hands in front of us, round the back, push the hands away. As we inhale, push the palms away, reach the hands up. Big inhale, look up. Exhale, draw the palms down, chin comes down to the chest. Inhale, opening the hands, open the chest, push the elbows back. Exhale, draw the hands away, draw the chin in. Inhale, flip the palms, reach the hands up. And exhale, draw the palms down. We're going to do that one more time, closing the eyes if you can. Inhale, opening the chest, arms in cactus. Exhale, rounding the back, draw the chin in, push the hands away. Inhale, flip the palms, reach the hands up. And exhale, draw the palms down. Good. We're going to interlace the fingers and then roll around the wrist. Rolling in waves as well. And the other way. Good, and then shaking out the hands. We'll bring the hands forward. We're going to dive and jump back into plank or low plank. So high plank or low plank, chaturanga it's also called. Up to you. Jumping back into chaturanga or low plank is harder, but really just listen to your body. So we're going to bring our weight forward into the hands, lift up the hips, and then either hop back into high plank and then come to low plank, or use the knees if you need to, or come straight back into low plank. Good. Inhale, we'll come up into our upward facing dog. And exhale, we'll push back to downward facing dog and pedal out the heels. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. Big deep breath through the nose. Swinging the hips side to side. Good, and then finding stillness here. We'll walk the hands back towards the feet. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, bend into the legs and come into a gentle forward fold. Hold on to each elbow with the opposite hand. And gently sway side to side. And we can release the hands behind the back, interlace the hands, and let the hands fall over the head. Big deep breath through the nose. Good, and then releasing the hands. Walk the hands back to downward facing dog. Big deep breaths here. Inhale, coming forward to plank. We're going to take our vinyasa. Use the knees if you need to. Exhale, lower. Inhale into our upward dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Really good. Walking the feet forward halfway. Bring the feet and the toes facing out. Sink the hips and let yourself sway side to side. Big deep breaths through the nose. And then sinking the hips in the middle, bring the palms together, push your knees apart with the elbows, feel the shoulder blades drawing down the back. Big deep breath through the nose. Good. We're going to come into crow pose. Bring the palms on the mat, fingers spread, lifting up the hips. Bring the knees onto the back of the arms, hug the elbows in. Squeezing and lifting. Lift one foot and then the other. And then maybe we can draw the toes together. Holding here, feeling really secure in your crow pose. Focus on the breath. And gently we'll come down. Inhale, come up halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Really releasing the neck here. We're going to place the hands behind the back of the head. Feel the length of the back of the neck. Maybe using the thumbs to make little circles with the neck, gently rolling the thumb up and down the length of the neck. Good. And then we'll gently release and come down onto our knees. We'll just loosen up the spine a little before we try out some tripod headstand. So we'll do some cat-cows here. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, arch the back, lift the chin. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, arching, roll the shoulders. Good. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, arching. And then come to neutral spine. Activating the core slightly, we're going to tuck the toes and lift the knees off the mat. As we exhale, crouch back. Feel a lovely lengthening in the spine. Maybe open the knees apart to allow yourself to really come back. And then coming forward, shoulders over wrists, knees hovering off the mat. Exhale back. Inhale forward, knees hover. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Last time, exhale back. Inhale forward, hover. Release the knees. Bring the tops of the feet on the mat and walk the hands forward, melting the chest down. Forehead onto the mat. Big deep breath through the nose. Feel the breath landing in the tummy. Feel the legs relax, feel the feet melting into the ground. And then gently coming up, walking back towards the shins and roll the shoulders, good. So we're going to come into tripod headstand. We don't have to lift the feet off the mat if you don't feel comfortable to do that. That's absolutely fine. We're just working towards it. So if you want to use the wall, you can. Bring the mat closer to the wall. Otherwise, we're going to fold up the mat slightly to give us a little bit of padding on the head. So we'll plant the hands either side. Bring the forehead onto the mat. Hug the elbows in, and remember the main thing that pushes the hips up when we tuck the toes and want to lift the knees is the hands. Drive down into the hands and push on the hands to let the hips lift up. We don't want to be collapsing all of our weight into our head. So push down on the hands. Really good. Walk the feet forward. Maybe practicing some toe taps. The next level that you could do if you were doing toe taps would be to perhaps lean one knee on one of the elbows and then practice really using your core what it feels like to tap the other foot off. Maybe you can bring the other knee onto the elbow, can kind of make a little shelf, similar to crow pose really, but with the head on the mat, and just give it a go. You can also keep the feet very close to the ground, walk the feet apart and kind of place the knees onto the backs of the arms, and then maybe from here, experiment with what it feels like to lift the feet off the mat. So here's quite a good place to be, because a lot of our weight is coming into the legs, through the back of the arms and into the hands, so a bit less pressure on the neck as well. So give that a go. It's a great alternative to a full tripod headstand, because you get an extra bit of support and you don't actually have to lift the feet completely off the mat either if you don't want to. Have a little rest and a breather if you would like. Release out any tension in the neck. And we can come into that again. You can use the back of the wall as well if you would like for support. And we'll come forward, push into the hands, tuck the toes, lift the knees, walk the feet behind each of the wrists, bend the knees and place them on the backs of the arms. Maybe make sure your arms don't wibble off the knees, but maybe you can lift one toe, even just hover it off the mat. Maybe the other toe comes up too. Squeeze the core so the core is working for you here. If you feel quite happy here, maybe you want to come a bit higher up, and maybe you can lift the knees off the back of the arms and come into tripod. headstand that requires quite a lot of core, so don't worry if you're not there yet, we'll get there. And then gently come down when you're ready. Really good. Rolling onto the forehead. We'll just release the arms either side of the body, palms facing up. Massage the forehead side to side. Good. And then hands underneath the shoulders, gently pushing up. Draw the chin into the chest and slowly roll the forehead side to side. Big deep breaths through the nose. Good. And then we'll gently come back to center. So we're going to give the transition a go from crow pose to tripod headstand. We're going to come into that tripod headstand variation with the knees on the back of the arms because they'll be there anyway from our crow pose. So I can show you first of all, and then if you would like to have a go, you can have a go. You can do it against a wall to make sure that you've got support, or even better, if you could have someone to kind of stand behind you with one arm behind you, just to keep you stable, especially if it's your first time practicing. You don't want to injure yourself. If you do feel like you're going to fall, the best thing to do would be to roll forward. So if you feel like you're going over, just turn it into a forward fold rather than collapsing out the side. If you collapse out the side, you could damage your shoulder. So before we start, just make sure that you've got a clear space in front of you, maybe even another mat or a cushion. And so if you do feel like you're going over and you haven't got the wall behind you, you can just tuck the chin and just turn it into a forward fold, and it shouldn't be too painful, especially if you've got a soft landing. But don't worry, it will be okay, especially if you've got someone to help you. And really just listen to your body. Only you really know your limits, so don't push yourself too hard, especially as we're not doing this in person. But I'm going to show you anyway, and then you can decide yourself. So definitely have the nice cushioning there, make it a bit bigger maybe for your head. Okay, so we're going to come into crow pose to start with. So just watch me to start with, and I'll show you what we're going to do. Making sure as well, if you've got long hair, especially like me, if I have it in a big bun here, it really gets in the way. So if you do have your hair in a bun, just make sure it's a little bit lower down than normal so that you've got space, because that does sometimes catch me out. Bring the hands out wide. We're going to come into our crow pose. It's slightly easier to do this when you're in a bit of a lower crow pose. So I know that a lot of the time I teach with the knees right at the back and up at the top of the armpit, so we're in a nice high crow pose. This time, actually, it's a bit easier if we instead squeeze the inside of the knees onto the back of the arms, so doing a bit of a lower crow pose. So you'll see that my knees, it's almost my shins that are resting on the backs of my arms, and this just means that we're a little bit lower to the ground. So coming into your crow pose. So now what we're going to do is, with control, bring our forehead down. And that's really it. So we're now in tripod headstand, or that variation that we did before. And from here, lift up the hips. We want the hips to be over the shoulders. Push into the hands. Maybe we can tuck both feet up. And maybe we can lift the knees off the backs of the arms. Keep the legs tucked into the body. If you have tripod headstand in your practice, feel free to straighten the legs. Focus on the breath. Look at one point that's not moving. And then we'll gently, gently come down really lightly with the legs. Really good. So we'll give that a go. So you know your body, you know if you might need a wall or a person to help you, maybe cushions somewhere, just to mainly give you a bit of confidence really, and feel a bit safer. So spreading the fingers, we'll come into low crow. So squeeze, keep the hips a bit lower. Come into this from the hips being a bit lower down. We still need to hug the elbows in, but we can make contact with kind of the inside bottom bit of the legs rather than the top of the knees. And instead of the top back of the arms, more the back side of the arms here. So it just keeps us a bit lower to the ground. Feet need to be lifted still though. and then very gently place the head down. It shouldn't hurt at all. It should be a very gentle release rather than a big thud down. And then maybe we can bring the feet up and bring the knees more in towards the armpits where we are in high crow. And then maybe lifting up the knees. So just see how you get on with that. Feel free to pause this and take your time with it. Feel free to repeat the class before, covering tripod headstand, and then go over these a few times to really build up the sequence slowly. Just take your time with it all. And once you have had enough of that, we're going to rest. So we're going to bring the forearms onto the mat, make a fist with the hands and just rest the forehead on there. Hips can be over the knees, and we just want to feel this real lengthening of the neck. We compress the neck quite a lot when we do tripod headstands, so just wanting to take a moment to lengthen the neck out. Breathing deeply into the tummy. Good, and then we'll walk all the way back onto the shins, and again, just do a few neck rolls. We'll find stillness in the center, lift up the chin, look over the right shoulder. Good, look over the left shoulder. Come back to center, right knee, right ear towards right shoulder. Right hand can rest on left side of face. And bring this left hand just towards the floor. Maybe the fingertips brush the floor for this lovely lengthening across the side of the neck and into the left shoulder. Breathe into that. Good, and then releasing the right hand by right face. Gently support yourself to coming up to center. And then we'll draw the left ear towards the left shoulder. Left hand on right side of face. Right fingertips on the right floor. Big deep breaths. Good, and then left hand on left side of face, gently drawing it up. Good, and then bring both fingertips to the neck and just make little circles with the fingers. Maybe running up and down the back of the neck with the fingers. And then we'll dive the hands forward, come into downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels and just shake the head side to side. Feel a real lengthening in the spine. We want to focus on pushing the chest towards the thighs and the tailbone up. Lengthening the spine, lengthening the neck, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Good, and then we'll walk the hands back towards the feet. As we inhale, we'll come up half flat back, but we'll reach the fingers forward and look forward and almost lean the hips back. So we're lengthening out the spine. Good, and then come back to hips over the ankles and forward fold. Hands on either side of the elbows. Gently rock side to side. Good, and then we're going to heel toe the feet out to the edges, toes facing outwards, sink the hips, draw the palms together. Big deep breath through the nose. Good. We'll bring our hands down and we're going to kind of do a little frog jump forward to the front of the mat and then sit the hips down and again come back to our wide and to our butterfly legs, hands onto ankles, gently folding from the hips. Maybe the knees can push the elbows can push the knees apart, relax the head and the neck. Big deep breath through the nose. And rolling into the shoulders. And gently sitting up. Good, and then we'll draw the knees together with the hands. Hands either side of the hips. Release out the hips, again opening the knees in the center. And then finding stillness in the center. Place the hands behind the thighs, roll down the back, draw the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the legs, give yourself a big squeeze and a big well done as well for this practice. Gently release the head down. Hold over the knees and just let the legs rest in the hands. Feel the lower back pushing into the mat. Big deep breath through the nose. And we'll gently release the feet and let the knees sway side to side. Good, coming to the center, coming to happy baby. Release out the inner hips. Big deep breath through the nose. And then releasing the legs, we'll come into our Shavasana. Rolling the ankles, rolling the hands, palms facing up. Relaxing the muscles in the face, in the chest. Feel the rise and fall of the tummy with every breath. Or the weight of the hip bones and the legs supporting you. Just being really proud of your journey so far and where you've come to. Knowing you're exactly where you need to be. And staying here until your breath is more calm and slower. As long as you can today in Shavasana. Thank you for joining me.